Hello and welcome to what's actually turning out to be a nice early March day here in beautiful Nova Scotia. Not so warm Nova Scotia. Spring is slow to come to us up here on the sort of northeast coast of North America. But it's warming up nicely in the greenhouse now. It's about 10 degrees. We've still got snow on the ground outside, but I am starting to do my sowing of seeds now, and as you can see on the side there, I've got some cold hardy and slow growing seedlings starting to grow along there. I've got some broccoli, kale, some different types of onions, etc., and some flowers. But I want to be growing or starting off some more seeds, and I'm running out of space in the house. I normally start them on this sort of inside the downstairs room where we have a fire, and it's normally nice and warm, and then I move them to another area. But here in the greenhouse, still it's getting to -6 to -10 sometimes in the evenings, which is not really that conducive to growing your seedlings, etc. And even though the ones I've got, the sort of cold tolerant ones, even if I put some covers over them at night, they're doing okay. Other things like tomatoes and chilies, etc., are not going to like that sort of temperature at all. So what I'm going to do, and one of the things I planned to do when I built this greenhouse, is I'm going to build a hotbed. What's a hotbed, I hear some of you say? Well, what it is a sort of it's a bed that's hot. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with manure, fresh manure, this area here, and as that manure breaks down, it starts to heat up, and creates that heat. And what I'm going to do is build a shelf on top of this bed of manure, and as the the bed heats up, the top area here should be nice and warm. And if I build a little greenhouse on top as well, then that might help my seedlings in the night time when it's getting really cold outside still. Now it's not a space heater. It's not going to heat the greenhouse, but this little area with the shelf for a load of my early seedlings, I think it's going to do some good. It's an experiment anyway. I've borrowed the idea from Charles Dowding, that great English gardener, the sort of the king of no dig, and he has one in his greenhouse, and he starts his a lot of his seedlings off in this hotbed. Admittedly, he lives in Somerset in the UK, which doesn't rarely get below -2 really, but we'll see. I think in this area here, if I put all that manure in there, get it warmed up, give it a little dome on top or some sort of greenhouse, that will trap the heat a little bit more and help the plants in the evenings, and to start germinating as well, so that I don't have to put a load of trays in the house. Mrs. F is not particularly happy with stray bits of dirt flying around everywhere. It might help me germinate more seedlings out here with that bottom heat. So what have I done so far? Well, basically I've got the back of my greenhouse my greenhouse is made of pallets. So if you can imagine, you could do this outside yourself. I've got a pallet back, and then I've built some pallets outwards here. So that's one pallet thickness. And what I've also done is at the front here, where I'm going to put the front on, I've made a bit of a lip with some wood. So as you can see on this side, I've screwed a piece of wood in down here, and then I've put another piece of wood overlapping slightly, so I've created a bit of a lip here. So what I can do is slide my bits of chipboard in as I build it up, and the same on this side, and then that'll stay in. Now these are a bit flimsy, so what I'm going to do is, as I get further up, I'm going to put this piece of pallet slat in here and nail and screw that in as a temporary, and then I'll just have the front face. You can do it how you want, but that's the convoluted way I've come up with. So then I'll do that, and then I'm going to make a nice top across there, and that'll trap the heat in, and then also start to warm up as the manure breaks down and heats up itself. And it can generate, manure can get up to, plus 30. What am I talking about here? 50 plus degrees centigrade easily, and that will generate a nice bit of bottom warmth. So as you can see out there, I've made a few trips down the stables this morning. I've already got some horse manure there and a little pile as well, so I've got to make a few more trips, but let's get that horse manure in. Now I know what you're thinking, it's going to be a whiffy in here. We'll see. I've got a nice bit of ventilation that goes around the greenhouse anyway, but I think it's a small price to pay to have this free resource of heating up my seedlings without needing grow lights or electricity, etc. And also, once the manure breaks down, once I finish using it in the late spring, I can use that to put on my beds somewhere else, because that'll have broken down into nice compost. I think that's a good idea. Right, let's get this whiffy manure in, shall we? So definitely not much room as I come up here. I'm glad, and I'm also glad I moved that raised bed back and gave it like a 5-foot gap between the door and the raised bed, because it was difficult to get in the wheelbarrow in otherwise. Right, let's get this horse manure. So basically, just going to fill this bed up now. This is as fresh as I can get it, because obviously I want it nice and fresh so that it will start breaking down straight away and generating that heat. And it's actually amazing how much heat that is generated. When I was down the stables this morning, literally as soon as I dig in to the actual horse manure, big clouds of steam are coming out of it. So hopefully that should work in here. Basically, this is just a compost bed at the end of the day, and I'm going to throw a load of kitchen waste in there as well, and a bit of cardboard to add a bit of the old carbon in there, and then, like I said, once I finish using this for the hotbed, I'll be putting it on the actual beds as compost, because it will break down quite quickly within a few months. So I'm going to carry on doing this. And I think I'm going to be packing it in as well, and I think it's going to take quite a few bags. And obviously, as I go along, I'm going to feed these in like that, and then put that cross piece in to brace it. Right, onwards and spellwards. Definitely an easier way to come in. Okay, as you can tell, probably by the change in light, it's a bit later in the day. I had to go for a COVID test. A singularly unpleasant experience. Not that I think I've got COVID, but I've got to go and see my ENT surgeon on Tuesday, so he's a single point of failure, so they've got to protect him, haven't they? But myself and my lovely family, Sarah and Ethan, we've just been down the beach. And we have been collecting seaweed, so I thought I'd mix it in a bit of seaweed in there, because like I said, afterwards I'm going to be using it as compost, and the seaweed makes a beautiful, so many really good different nutrients in the seaweed. I'm going to mix that in amongst the horse manure now, and then that will break down nicely as well as the compost, as well as the horse manure. Absolutely beautiful down the beach today, beautiful sunshine, bit of a chilly breeze, but we're dressed for it. It's not cold, you're just incorrectly dressed.
Suppose I better get on with it myself.
Right, so I've given that a bit of a mix in. Now I'm just going to put some more horse manure in, some more seaweed, more horse manure, until we get to the top. That'll be the door closing. Hello, welcome back. I say welcome back because it's now Sunday morning. Next day, an absolute peach of a morning as well. I've already been down to the stables to get hopefully my last load of manure, but lovely blue sky, a bit of a breeze, but the greenhouse is warming up nicely already, hence negative fleece, or negative big green fleece anyway. So the last bits and bobs hopefully of filling up the bed before I just fashion a top. I'm also, as I said, got some kitchen scraps, some egg cartons and some, you know, onions, etc. So that's all going to go in. Some cardboard holders, etc. So I'll throw all that in the mix. Let me just break up this cardboard. Like I said, it's just really a compost heap, but hopefully supercharged with all the manure. So when I came in this morning, actually there wasn't much of a smell of manure, so that's good. Wasn't overpowering at all. Bit of a farmyard smell. Right, that's all that lot. Let's get the manure in. So I was down the stables this morning. The pile is literally like 10 foot high at the back. Massive, great big pile of manure. Oh. Where is this? And this stuff I'm putting on now is already still steaming from the pile. So that's a good start. Right, better put another barrier in. I've got some cardboard as well. There we go. Another bag of manure, and then I'll put some more seaweed in. So I'm hoping you can see that that is steaming already. A big steaming pile of poo. One thing I've forgotten to mention is that we need to water. We need to give this a good water. Make sure it's a bit damp. So let's give it a good water. Let's carry on. Right, I've got a couple more bags down the bottom. That is steaming nicely down the bottom, which should fill that out, and then that'll be it. I'm ready for the top. Right, that is just about full to the brim. Not worth me making another trip down the stables today anyway. So obviously that's going to sink down over the next few weeks because, you know, as the bacteria, the microorganisms start to do all their work, excuse me, and really get amongst the manure, They will eat it up, and obviously what they leave is not going to be as much as what was there in the first place. So that will sink down, and I'll probably fill it up over the next few weeks. Let's give this top bit a bit of a water as well. Right. That'll do. Right, so now a top. I don't think I'm going to do anything too elaborate here. What I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to get some pallet slats to put across, and then put some cardboard on top of that, and just maybe staple the cardboard to the slats, and that'll probably do. Maybe put some holes in it, some little holes in it, just so that some of the heat can come through nice and easy. But we obviously want to trap the majority of the heat here, so that it's creating that thermal mass and the heat underneath. So I'll do that now. Hello and welcome back. I've got to say, I'm rather excited. So what have I done? Well, so I started making I made the shelf unit. Pretty simple. I've just, as you can see, put some horizontal pieces either side, so that I can put these slats down like this. So I've got a load of slats, and I'm leaving a bit of a gap in between each one, just to let a bit of the heat come through. Oops. Let's get that in. Voila. Now, so this heat obviously is going to come up through there, and also be trapped a little bit because of, there's only little slats, only little bits of air, so, but that'll warm up nicely. But the piece de resistance is, if you can see, I've put some screws down the sides here. Just screwed them in a little bit, left them protruding, and then got the old plastic plumbing, or you can use electrical conduit type stuff. Last one. Et voila, to make a bit of a framework. And then I didn't have a big enough piece, but you'll get the drift, and I didn't want to cut any more. I'll just get another bit and sellotape it to it, but check it out, a mini greenhouse, and a heated greenhouse at that as well. I'll tell you what, sometimes even I amaze myself. But all joking aside, I'm pretty chuffed with that. So we can fit our seed trays in there. Should be able to fit 1, 2, 3, about 5 seed trays in there. And then obviously, once they have germinated, depending on whether it's like tomatoes or like this broccoli, can now go out onto the shelf, and it doesn't mind a little bit of cold. But in here now, I can germinate things because, what you really need when you're germinating seeds is bottom heat. The earth needs to be nice and warm, and it needs a bit of bottom heat, and in most cases a bit of light. But once they're actually germinated, you can, other than your hot weather plants, I can put them out on the shelf now. But the hot ones, tomatoes and things like that, I can leave in here if I need to with the room, etc. So I'm going to trial some tomato seeds in here and see how they get on. I think I don't know whether it's actually warming up inside there yet, because whether my thermometer down here is broken. But we'll see in a couple of days, and I'll report back to let you know how I'm getting on. But what do you reckon? Your comments would be most appreciated to let me know what you think. Have I missed anything? Have I done anything wrong? I think even Charles Dowding would be proud of that. Nice bit of kit. Job is definitely a good one. Now I'm off for a nice cup of tea, and unfortunately I've got to do my taxes. Life's not always good. See you later.